My kids drink this every morning and have for the past 420 days. Meatstock. It's the best food for gut healing. Problem is you have to make it from scratch. Today, I'm gonna teach you my super simple process. I'm gonna share a free tool with you, and then also at the end, leave you with a fun challenge. Let's go. Hi, I'm Liz, a wife and mom of 3 littles living overseas. My son's health issues led us to journey through the GAPS gut healing diet. I understand just how much time, energy, and effort it takes to prepare homemade traditional foods, but I'm here to make it simpler for you so you can experience the same transformation in your family's health as I have. Before we get started, I want to talk about why Meatstock is such a uniquely gut healing food, why it has unique benefits, because it is the powerhouse at rebuilding unhealthy connective tissue. And Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride talks about this in her GAPS diet book, about all the unique elements, the collagen, elastin, proteoglycans, etc., all these things that form the connective tissue. And our gut is a long tube made entirely out of connective tissue. In order to heal it, we need large amounts of all the elements of connective tissue as building materials. For this recipe, like I said, it's really simple. Some people get really fancy and put in carrots, onions, garlic. Surprisingly, I found my kids actually like it the best when I leave that out, and it just tastes like pure Campbell's chicken noodle soup, what you remember from when you were young, except with no yucky ingredients. So that's how my kids love it, and it makes it super simple. No chopping vegetables, no chopping other things. Now, one of the most important aspects of this is that these are meaty bones. They're not just bare bones. There has to be meat on the bones. Your meat could be more or less. Sometimes when I make this, I use a whole chicken. Today, when I'm making this, I'm using bones with a little bit of meat on them, where most of the meat is already taken off of it. So it really just depends on how much meat you actually want to save after you cook it and eat it. I prefer to eat most of my meat in other ways. So because of that, I like to do a less meat stock versus putting in a whole chicken. Now, the important thing about these meaty bones is that they contain muscle, joints, fascia, cartilage, fat, in addition to the bones. And those are all of the things that we will be drawing nutrients out of when we're making this meat stock. So what will really bring your meat stock to the next level and make it super gelatinous, which is what we want, that's where the gut healing magic is, chicken feet. When I first made this, I couldn't even touch these guys. I had to dump it out of the bag, only touch it with a pair of tongs, but now look at me. Look how far I've come. I can touch it, I can spread the fingers apart. There you go, chicken feet or pig trotters, pig feet. Those are gonna do amazing wonders to your meat stock. Again, to show you, I'm making a less meat stock. So my bones still have meat on them and they are raw, but it's just less meat. And it's so little meat that when I'm done cooking this, I'm not gonna take the time to take all the meat off this and eat it separately. I'm just gonna save these to make bone broth at a later time. So we've talked about the ingredients. The second thing I really want to emphasize is that meat stock is not bone broth. The main difference is that you are using meaty bones that are raw, they haven't been cooked yet, and the cook time is much shorter than you would do for bone broth. So again, if you want more information on those differences, check out my free cheat sheet below. Okay, so now we're gonna finally dive into it. Let's look at the 3-step process to making meat stock. So let's run through the steps before we dive in. First, we're gonna cover the meaty bones with water and bring to a boil, scoop off the scum. Next, we'll add the salt and pepper, simmer for 1.5 hours. And then 3, take off the heat, strain it into glass jars and let it cool. This is an awesome recipe because you don't have to defrost your meat ahead of time. Mine happens to be defrosted. I'd say 95% of the time that's not the case. I put it in the pot frozen and you follow the same recipe from there. Okay, now our meat is in the pot. We're gonna go to the first step. The first step is adding filtered water. Now we're gonna just barely cover this with filtered water. If you add too much, your meat stock is not gonna be flavorful enough or be gelatinous enough. So better to err on the side of less. So just barely covering the top. I'm sweating. Okay. Next, we're gonna be scooping off the scum after we bring it to a boil. And this is actually really important because it's gonna help your meat stock taste way yummier. Okay, so to bring it to a boil, what we're gonna do on our Instant Pot to make that happen is just hit the saute button. And I just set it for 30 minutes, so it has enough time to come to a boil, but it definitely won't take that long. Okay, so as you can see, I've brought this to a boil. All the foam and dark colored stuff, we're gonna skim off the top. This batch actually does not have that much scum, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the heat as I do this. Doesn't overboil. Yeah, like I said, this one, we don't have a ton of scum, so I'm gonna be scooping less for this batch. But if you get a whole bunch of white foam, that's what you're gonna wanna be scooping. Oh, there's a good one. All right, so we finished step one. We have brought it to a boil, scooped off the scum. Now we're gonna add our mineral salt and pepper. And I just give it a good shake. I've done this so many times that I kind of know how much to add, but you can always add it at the end. Salt and pepper, and that's it. And honestly, this is the way my kids love it and enjoy it the most. Now we're gonna put the lid on and simmer it. This is the part where your mom brain messes with you and you're trying to remember which setting to push and for how long. So that's where my cheat sheet comes in handy. And I'm gonna refer to it again because even I don't trust myself always. So for the Instant Pot, we're gonna push the slow cook button and we're going to make sure it's at the normal setting. So my chart cheat sheet says 1.5 to 3 hours. Now I'm choosing to do 1.5 hours because my meaty bones are less meaty bones. If I had a full bird, a whole chicken, I might put it at a longer cook time. But the nice thing is, it's okay if you open this and check it partway through. So Natasha Campbell McBride says in her GAPS book to just cook it until the meats are soft and come off the bone easily. So you can always check it partway through if you're not sure if you're cooking it for too short or too long. Just come back, take off the lid, check your bones. If it's not coming off yet easily, then go ahead and keep it cooking for longer. Okay, so our Instant Pot went off. It's time to go ahead and take out the bones, the meaty bones, put them in here. All right, so this is hot. You say hot? Say hot. And for this, it is very hot, so we're gonna make sure small children are not around while we do this. Next part, we're gonna need our oven mitts and a strainer, a funnel, and put that strainer over your funnel, and you're gonna you are going to slowly pour this in, and you wanna do it slowly so the glass has time to adjust to the temperature so it doesn't crack. So when I make this, I usually get 2 full liters, but it looks like I added a little less water today, and that's fine. It just means it's gonna have a stronger flavor. Now the last thing I wanna do, I'm gonna go ahead and leave the top open while it cools, because you do want this to come completely cooled down before you put it in the fridge, or else you're going to spoil all the rest of your food. Then I would highly recommend on the lids to write down what it is. So for me, it's either bone broth or meat stock. So in this case, meat stock, so I do MS. And the day of the week that I made it, just so I know how far along I am and make sure that it's not going bad. So there you go, that's my super simple meat stock recipe. Now you don't have to start out drinking this every day, but my challenge for you is to go out, buy some meaty bones, and download my free cheat sheet and try to make it at least 1 time this week. Comment down below how that goes.